I'm Bob Monkhouse. Although, in the spirit of this show, maybe you think I should be dragged up and calling myself Roberta, but I know better. The great female impressionists are specialists, brilliant character actors whose skills go far deeper than a mere change of clothes. I remember the first time I ever put on female attire, you know, the wig, the false eyelashes, the lipstick, and I looked in the mirror and went, Mum? Very unnerving. I prefer to leave it to the funniest of fluses in falsies. Here I go. Lads in lingerie, chaps in chinchilla, a veritable swarm in a D-cup. Brilliant performers all.
It is. It can't be. I tell you it is.
You're right, it is a man in drag.
I think the first person I saw dressed in drag was possibly Dick Emery. And I remember as a child thinking that was sort of amusing and funny, but slightly disturbing too.
You are awful, but I like you.
You get an awful lot of laughs out of just being the character, which is wonderful, really, and you only need the odd joke here and there, but as long as the character is so rich, you're getting laughs on the way to the big joke.
Her old man, he's the same. He's in love with what's her name? Big jaws, droopy draws, standing at the end, known to all as man's best friend.
I think if you've got a man who is still maintaining his masculinity within that character, that for me is a lot more funny than somebody who is trying so very hard to be feminine.
Sissy! Have we got for some domestos? Oh! Now look what you've done on it.
It's over the top and it's eccentric and it's burlesque. So the ladies can think to themselves, well, surely we don't look like that. It's impossible. I mean, and that's what makes them laugh. I mean, it's the humiliation, really, in a way, isn't it?
He's a chirpy little fellow, isn't he? Isn't he a chirpy little fellow, eh? Does he talk? Does he talk, eh?
Of course I can talk. I'm Minister for Overseas Development.
Oh, he's a clever little boy. He's a clever little boy.
I think there's no question that a man dressed as a woman can say ruder things, more intimate things, than a man as a man.
And if you don't enjoy the show or it's a teeny-weeny little bit boring, all I can say is you have no one to blame but my guests.
For those of you who thought a cross-dresser was a man who gets furious when he can no longer fit into a size 10, no, that's an extremely cross-dresser. Cross-dressing, well, it has a rich history in this country, but the tradition of panto dames and grotesque old biddies was to change with the arrival on the scene of a beautiful young Irishman. He took drag by its scrawny, protruding Adam's apple. He draped it in shimmering gowns that back in the 60s cost as much as your average suburban semi, and transformed it into a glamorous art form that was beyond gender. He was the quintessential glamourpuss, the high priestess of the padded bra, Danny LaRue.
Never forget it. At the time when you were sitting in front of the fire in your elasticated cuffed pyjamas, hoping not to be sent to bed, and of course a great treat was to be allowed to watch variety programmes. And on came this incredible icon, this man, dressed like a Vegas showgirl.
Danny's glamorous, isn't it? It's not just an act, it's more of a production. Danny has staircases and sequins and feathers and entourage and stunning, actually.
You see the money, the clothes look beautiful, he takes enormous trouble to look wonderful, the wigs, and it was Fantasyland.
What's a mate?
He would come on looking sensational, and within the first minute would say, "What's your mates?" in a very deep voice to the audience. And he played it as if he was having on the girls in the show, and this was all a joke, which broadened his appeal enormously.
I was walking down, I think from Cambridge Circus, and a lorry went by, and somebody said, "Hello, Dan, what's your mate?" I thought, that sounds great.
What's your mates?
I think his act was connected with the Palladium shows, the sequins, the glitter, the chorus line, and so on. And sort of cheeky jokes for the boys, you know.
within this extraordinary glamorous and controlled ambiance, surrounded by chorus girls and feathers and sequins, he could actually talk unrelieved innuendo, which is pretty well was a release for the audience because they weren't allowed to speak that way.
If you come outside with me, I'll get a big surprise.
If I come outside with you, Buster, you'll get a bigger one.
I don't think Danny's ever claimed surgical accuracy with his impressions. They're broad cartoons, and they are rather affectionate.
I'm a female impersonator. I impersonate as well as I can, then it's forgotten.
I'm Handy Little Sandy, the kid with the feet. When I sing, I start to giggle and wiggle me see like a puppy on a string.
Falling in love again, but then although I'm 62, I can't
It was a very hard job for Dan when we were dress rehearsing a new show in the club on a Sunday, and Dan's clothes were all arriving bit by bit, these beautiful costumes. You know, I felt sorry for him because we all knew that it's not what he would look like tomorrow, but he soldiered on.
Yes, I just tell him, pretend I'm ready. So that I can...
When you see a man stripped to the waist, but the face is in full flood, makeup, and the wig hasn't arrived yet either, so you're getting a very strange hermaphrodite picture. And they probably feel slightly uneasy because they're only part of the way there.
For the finale, Danny performs a lightning change of sex. The makeup that took an hour to put on is gone in minutes. Every trace of femininity, including nail polish, disappears.
The in papers used to say I made drag respectable. Such an old-fashioned word, is it? I tried to just do it differently, that's all.
God bless you all. Drive carefully home. Thank you very much.
One more time. Down paradise.
Dear Danny LaRue, meanwhile, north of the border,